and welcome to Emboldened with Jessica. This is your host, Jessica, and
Ariel.
ooh, okay. So today we're going to be talking about friendships. Dun dun dun. First, I wanted to share some stats on friendship because as much as I think we know friendships are important, I don't think we get how important it is. A lot of the folks that I work with, I think that they feel like they're being unreasonable, that they desire friendships, or that something is different about them. And so I think these stats also help to kind of normalize that this is a human experience that we all really need and desire. And that when we're not feeling so good, when we don't have fulfilling friendships, it's not a lacking on our part. It is just the science of our bodies. It's the way that we are built. So the U.S. Surgeon General in 2022 said loneliness possesses health risks that are as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I thought that was outrageous.
I mean, it is outrageous, but not surprising as many people keep mentioning the loneliness epidemic that's happening just since the pandemic.
Also, the Gottman Institute shared that 20% of men receive emotional support from friends in a given week versus 40% of women. Another stat that I just think I had to share was that the average American, sorry for those of you that are not American, actually not sorry, you're blessed, okay? But anyways, the average American hasn't made one new friend in the last 5 years.
Wow. And that should give you a little pause and make you think like, when was the last time I made a new friend? And a legit friend, not a work friend, not a weekend hangout clubbing friend, like a legit friend. When was the last time you made a new friend?
And I guess I should specify that that is North American, of course. Pew Research has said that adults surveyed, 53% said that they have between 1 and 4 close friends, and that 8% of adults said they had no close friends. So again, we're just wanting to share some data to normalize that having friends is really difficult. And as we get older, the number of folks that we might count as emotional friends or the number of people we might reach out to for emotional support, it really narrows. And that's part of our human experience right now. If it is giving you some challenges, we want to just kind of talk a little bit more about friendships. There's so much that's nuanced there, and that's super important about friendships. And it seems like friendships don't get the respect that maybe other things get in our culture, such as dating, being married, or maybe familial relationships get.
Indeed. I feel like you saw like a tiered thing of relationships. Friendships are at the bottom. And I'm not sure if this just because people think it's a given that friends will be there, or you can survive without friendships.
Yeah, what a mess. Knowing how important friendships are, I think it is important for us to prioritize our friendships because for some people who are seeking like that great love, their twin flame, they might be looking for that person their entire life. They may or may not find that person versus a friendship. I mean, we have the opportunity to have really great quality friendships at every stage of our lives. And a friend can really be with us usually longer than some of these relationships.
This is very true, which is just surprising that we don't put as much effort and as much work into a friendship as we do a romantic relationship.
So I like to think of friendships like plants. I like to think of humans like plants in general, that, if they're not tended to, if we're not pouring into a plant, then it is going to die. So when we're thinking about how much to pour into a friendship, I think it's important for us to have an understanding that there are levels to friendships. Not every friendship is the same. And I think of them as either like tiers on a cake or membership levels. Sometimes we need to upgrade a membership. Sometimes the membership is not giving what it needs to give.
You're thinking like bronze, silver, gold,
Yes,
platinum.
diamond. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Because I think when we don't have the levels or we don't have this understanding that not all friendships are the same, we really set ourselves up to be disappointed when people are not pouring into us in the ways that we think that they should be, Or we might feel like, wow, why do I keep giving, and I'm not getting anything in return? It's like, is that really a friend or is it something else? So one of the tiers or levels, maybe this would be the bronze.
Okay.
I don't know, bronze is a beautiful color.
I know, but it's still third place.
Oh, is it?
Bronze is third.
Okay. Yes. So the bronze would be an acquaintance, right? So this is just someone we know of. We say hi to them when we see them. I may not even know their last name. I don't know how to spell their name. It's just no effort. It's someone I know of, but they're not anyone I would think to reach out to hang out, or there's no intimacy there.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the bronze. I guess going on up, would that be silver?
It would be silver.
Okay, silver would be our casual friends. These are situational friends. So maybe that you know them from work, maybe you know them from the gym, or I also like to call them fair weather friends. They're there for a good time, not a long time. Like they're not someone you can depend on or count on. They're not who you come to if something really big happens in your life. It's the group chat you got added to. You know the people in the group chat, but you're not particularly close with them.
Yeah, they're getting briefed on your life by happenstance in a way. Like you finally made a post on social media, but your gold platinum friends already got a secret like text message already.
Hello.
Yeah.
A voice note.
Yes.
And when I think about these friendships, casual friendships, these are the ones we don't really want to invest in emotionally. And so we start to say, why hasn't this person done this for me? Why haven't they done this for me? And we're thinking them as a friend. We might look again and say, is this really someone who belongs to be demoted in the membership level, where really they're a casual friend, or maybe they're an acquaintance? The other thing is, I think sometimes it's hard for people to move out of this casual friend into the next level, which I would call an actual friend. And I think it's hard to move out of this casual friendship, situational level, because it takes a lot of work. You're really teaching this person about you. You're asking the favorite colors. You're testing out a little bit of vulnerability to see how it's received. It requires a great deal of effort, a casual friend, if you're trying to upgrade them to the next package. I think this is where a lot of people stop. And so they just have casual friends. They don't have anything closer than that. So the next level, the gold level, friends, is someone we would invest in. It feels good to be with them. It feels easeful. So I often will ask clients to just start to notice how it feels when they're with different people. Does it feel easeful? Does it feel like it's a lot of work? For a friend, it should feel pretty easeful. And then we're getting to platinum. I love it. Okay. So then a close friend would be, I would say, close friend would be someone who I can share pretty personal things with. I may not see them all the time. Mm-hmm. Maybe they live across the country. Maybe they live in another country. Maybe it is a friend who I worked with and I was really close with at one time, or we were best friends in college, and we still have a level of safety with each other. There's a great deal of care and respect. It's just not someone that we are seeing as often. They're not the first person to get the information about an update in our lives, but they're in the inner circle.
Okay. This is the close friend? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those platinum. Then our intimate friends, that would be the next round. I call this diamond. Okay, better than platinum. Okay, not blood diamonds though. Anyways, these are the kind of friends where they'll challenge you. Like if you're in the wrong, they really can call you in because they're that close. They know you really, really well. They know your secrets. They're the person that when you pass, they're going to your house to hide the things you don't want other people to know about. Okay, these are forever friends. I call them like my besties. You share your dreams with them. They know the things that are really close to your heart. And no matter how far away they are, you're in constant communication. Maybe this is the friend that you send 10 TikToks a day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I guess for me, the levels are not getting murky. It's just interesting how you have them. I guess it gets a little different with platinum and diamond. Is it a distance proximity thing of why they're not getting the text when something big happens to platinum friends?
Yeah, I think this is the friend where maybe life has changed their situation. Maybe they're married now, maybe they have kids now, and whereas they're very close to you, you care about them, you just don't have the same level of access, or you're just not in contact as often. Yeah, I think of this like someone who was a best friend at some point in life, but you just don't hang out with them like you used to.
But you still have them in high regard. You still know
Yes.
that you can trust and be vulnerable and respect them.
Yes.
But okay, that
It's a
access
little
piece is
different.
interesting.
Yeah, but they're still a close friend in the sense that if they needed you, if something came up and they're like, I need you to be here, you would be there. You would drop whatever it was you needed for them, to show up for them. And yeah, so it's a different flavor to me. And for some people, maybe these are too many tiers, and that's fine. Like you want to pick what works and resonates with you. Maybe you call these tiers something totally different. But yeah, I think it's important to know that not everyone is the same type. It's not everyone is a friend, because everyone is not your friend. And I feel like our parents told us that
Yeah.
all the time, and
Very
we used to be like, what are they talking about? These old people, they don't know what they're talking about. Yes, they were correct. Not everybody was our friend.
Now, I almost want to do a little rewind, and I feel like I've seen a lot on social media when it comes to even making a friend to get them in their tiers. There's a lot of mention of community, but on the other side of that, social fitness. I've heard this term mentioned, and when it comes to making friends, and I think about like when people are wanting to get into a relationship, they go out into the dating world. I feel like the social fitness is something that you kind of have to date to find a friend as well. Like making sure that you can go out in the world, go to a community event, go to some type of club event, and you won't feel completely awkward because you have been exercising your social fitness. Ready to be like that oddball, or ready to make the first move and ask a question to a stranger in the room to see if, hey, maybe they want to be my friend or want to be my associate. So just something about that part when it comes to making friends to get people to the tiered levels of friendship.
You know, I think a lot of people think about being emotionally mature or emotional intelligence, but that's different. I could be extremely emotionally intelligent, but still not have that social fitness where I am willing to put myself out there and strike up those conversations. Yes, I really like that concept, and it being something that we have to kind of practice. One of the things I didn't do justice to in our previous conversation about building community was, what does this look like if you're neurospicy? Because if you're neurodivergent, it is a little bit different to maintain a friendship and to make plans to connect, or to make eye contact with someone you see out that you want to have a conversation with. And so, like, how do we navigate those in ways that still feel comfortable within ourselves? And I think still finding things that you're interested in as a way to connect might feel a little bit less dangerous, or a little bit more safe than just going to an event completely by yourself. I know a lot of folks who will make sure they have maybe music in their ear, like in an earbud, as a way to kind of support them. They have that kind of sensory input. That might be something that is supportive, or bringing something to an event that you can kind of fidget with your hands, whether that's like knitting or some kind of actual fidget to support you, that knowing that you still get to show up completely authentically as yourself, because if this person could be a good friend, they need to be open and aware of that, but doing what feels right to you, not just thinking that you have to act in the way that is neurotypical in order to meet and make friends. That is certainly not the case. one of the things that research has shown is that when a person has lived in a community a long time and they have long-standing friends, they're less likely to want to meet and make friends with new people. And then new people tend to do the best connecting with other people who are also new. So whether that's new to a community, new to a job, new to an academic program, because they're also looking for a community. And so just
being open. Yeah, you might have had these like decades old friendships, but you still need to put yourself out there and work that muscle, because a new person, they have nothing. They almost have nothing to lose either.
Yes, yeah,
so there's I'm just going to put myself out there and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that's so much easier. Like if I go to a conference by myself or I'm traveling by myself, it's so easy for me to meet new people because I'm by myself and I'm not about to be by myself. I'm about to have a good time with somebody. So it's really easy to put myself out there and meet new people versus if I'm traveling with a group of friends, I'm not super motivated to meet other people when they approach. So I think that's, a consideration as we are connected with other people, that if they are also kind of standing alone, they may be someone who's a little bit more open and receptive to having a dialogue, to building those friendships. So just a consideration, especially, I know a lot of folks who live in college or university communities, and there's just so many people who are constantly moving and leaving. And so they're saying goodbye a lot. And sometimes there is that sadness of they're so used to having to say goodbye. And also with a new person, they're not sure, are you going to be around very long? Are you going to be around 3 months and then you're gone? So do I want to be vulnerable and connect with you if you aren't around? But I believe that it is worth it in the sense of just getting to know someone and savoring the time that we have with them. There's no guarantees for anything. And so just learning how to enjoy the time that we do have and being in the moment.
Do you have a recent friend moment that you want to share? When the friendships, like you're just in the zone, in the flow of being friends. Recent or a memory from long, long ago?
Ooh, long, long ago. I just think about a recent memory, in the last couple of weeks of just being with a particular friend who is freaking hilarious. And when we're together, it's just super easy. I don't have to really worry about anything. I can just be, we have ridiculous conversations. It just feels really good to spend company with her. And so just being able to really savor that, and then also while we're together, let's schedule for next time. That's one of the things I've gotten better at. If while we're right there, we schedule the time for next time, it's so much easier than texting and going back and forth on a variety of dates and then kind of fizzling to black. So there's some soft feelings there, but in terms of a friendship, I stayed in longer than I should have. I got many of those.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Many.
Pick one.
Okay. So one that comes to mind is, it was a situational friendship. So we worked together, and I probably shouldn't have entered the friendship to begin with, but it was around the time that my sister moved out of state. And so my sister is one of my besties. And so with her being gone, I had more time on my hands. And so I knew I shouldn't have been hanging out with this person, but I did. I started spending more time with them, and they had all kinds of habits that just were not very healthy. And then in the beginning, I was like, yeah, that is very unhealthy. Notice me why do they do that? It's very unhealthy. And then over time, I found myself doing those things. And then sure enough, it was a friendship that they were not very honest. They were not a good friend, and it fizzled. And there was a lot of pain in that, and this kind of awareness I then had that, wow, you can't really be friends with people you work with. And I don't know that I necessarily believe that completely now, but it certainly was so harmful that it soured me on being friends with coworkers.
Yeah.
And so, it was something that from the very beginning I should have listened to my gut about, and I did not. So I definitely stayed in that friendship longer than I should have. So I'm curious about friendships in terms of friendships with women, friendships with men, and just really I have a lot of curiosities. Of course, I have male clients and I hear about their friendships, and I have male friends and male family members. From my perspective, it really seems like as men become married, it seems like they invest less in their peer friendships, and they might start to invest more in family kind of relationships. And I don't know, I'm curious, is it my biased perspective? Is that what you all have noticed? And why does that seem to evolve or change?
Yeah, please let us know. Tell us more from the male perspective. How are you all navigating friendships, especially as you get older?
Of course, I have to talk about this. This is the thing that really grinds my gears. People who prioritize whoever they're dating in the moment over the friendship.
I think an example of that, or that as an example, it just shows how people are framing friendship. And sometimes people, when they get involved in relationships, that is all they need, all they think they need.
That's true.
They make that person the priority, the beginning, the ending, and the middle. And sometimes I personally just fall back and I'm like, okay, true colors, got it.
You know, that is so interesting. For some people, and actually I've heard some males say this too, that the friends are just like, they're the B-roll, they're just like the background. They fill in the gap until they meet their significant other. Because the goal is to meet their significant other. This is just...
That's how males will perceive of females' friends?
Their friends.
Oh,
Or
okay.
some women perceive their friends in that way too, where it's just, you were just a way for me to meet men, and the goal was always to be with this guy. And now that I have that guy, then these friendships are less important, which to me, that's not a friendship that would
The
be.
B-roll, dang.
I know.
Ouch.
For some people, you know, they're very clear that that's their priority. And I think that's different. For me, what I don't like is when a friend makes plans with me and then Bae is free and they want to hang out with Bae. And so then they cancel. And I'm like, she's not a backup plan. This is when you get demoted. Behind the acquaintance, you are under the ground. I'm not returning no more calls.
You are trying to think of the metal.
not
What
pass
metal
go.
would be under bronze? You are aluminum foil.
You are rust. You are rust. You are rust to me. Because what you're not going to do is not prioritize, a commitment. To me, it's about the commitment. So even if you're in a relationship and your partner and you have plans, I don't want you to bail on your partner's plans because you want to hang out with me. I'll find another time. So to me, that is just, when the friends, they ghost you for whoever it is that they're dating. And then when that relationship doesn't work out, then they want to be right up underneath you again, like nothing happened. Another example of when this could happen and it makes sense is if the person's in a relationship with someone who's abusive and that person is controlling and not allowing them to go out. Again, that's reason for concern. But when that relationship ends, of course, if I know that it was an abusive relationship, you share that information, then of course I have compassion. I can completely understand why you would ghost or why you wouldn't hang out. But other than those... Rust. You are dead to me. You membership is declined. Okay. I do want to hold space for friendships where you went through something really traumatic together, and so it just feels different when you're with them. It reminds you of the trauma, or maybe you all talk about the trauma when you're together, and so now it's just harder to want to schedule or see that friend. And so if that's the case, just recognizing that the nature of the friendship has evolved, if you feel like it is comfortable and safe to do so, really talking to that friend about that. Like, I noticed when we get together, we're kind of trauma bonding over this thing that happened. And, I want to move forward and not really talk about this anymore. Is that all right with you? And if it is, maybe that allows you all to go to another level in your friendship. And if it's not okay for them, then, deciding if you want to distance. I think this also happens, like I mentioned, if someone becomes married or a parent, the nature of that friendship can sometimes change. the trauma bond, sometimes that happens and it changes the nature of a relationship, or their lifestyle has changed so much that there's not the same things that are in common, or maybe you now have a disability and it impacts your ability to go out as often. That disability could be that maybe you're really depressed right now, or maybe you're dealing with some anxiety. And so the things you used to do with your friends don't feel great to your nervous system anymore. It's hard for you to do that. And so again, if this is someone who's a close friend, an intimate friend, someone that you have really invested in, I would invite you to just explore, is this someone that I feel comfortable opening up about what my challenges are? Not that they need to solve it or fix it or any of that, but just so that they can have a little bit more patience with me, and I can have more self-compassion for myself, and knowing that the friendship is different, but I still value the friendship. And these are the ways that I can go out and it might feel more comfortable, or I might cancel plans. And it's not that I don't care about you. It's that I couldn't get out of bed that day. So I just want to bring in that there's all different kinds of forms of friendships, and they're all important and valid. And I want to hold space for sometimes friendships go through a patch or a season where they're just a little bit more heavy. And so again, if it's someone that is a friend that we trust, being able to communicate what you're navigating, I think it helps to deepen the friendship. There's always time for a little self-reflection. And I think as we're thinking about our friends and we're evaluating them and we're putting them on memberships, we should also be doing a self-reflection on how are we as friends? We have this list of expectations for our friends. How do we meet those? What are we bringing to the table? Are we the whole table? Are there things that we need to work on? Is listening something we need to work on? Has this friend, shared more deeply than I'm sharing? Am I not sharing with this friend? Do I think my friend can't hold space for what I'm navigating? So it's not me being completely authentic. Am I being a version of myself I think this friend would like, but I don't know if they'd like the real me if they saw that. So I think just having a moment to reflect and say, how do I upgrade my membership level and the lives of my friends is important. And so sometimes doing a chart of what you need from a friend, and then what are you bringing to the table as a friend, I think is helpful. And again, continuing to have self-compassion for yourself, that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be all of things that your friend is. So just also taking this time as you're listening to the podcast and the days that follow to just do a self-reflection. And there are some things that you're really great at. And so highlighting those. So not just focusing on the areas that you need to improve on, but being like, well, dang, I am a bam, bam, jamma in this regard. Like, I'm really good about remembering birthdays, or I'm really good about remembering when my friends have an interview or an important day. I always check in on them. Like, that's beautiful. So celebrating the ways that you show up is also important. So also a reminder that this podcast is not a replacement for therapy or counseling with a licensed professional. And if you don't already, you need to be following us on Instagram, like and follow this podcast so that you receive the updates. And if there are topics you want us to talk about, please reach out to us by email or on social media and let us know. Thank you for listening.